Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Megan Robertson, and I work at Aston University, hence the branded slides. Well, they said I could come here and not count it as a day off, so I'd better do something to publicise them. I'm a fairly late addition to academia. I slithered in there about 5 years ago, after a checkered career from starting off with a degree in botany, wandering through a software house, bit of consultancy, got in on the ground floor of web development when they got round to inventing the web. Yes, I'm that old. 60 a couple of weeks ago, so it's up with the age. And I mostly do stuff with e-learning, and I run the final year projects, and for a little bit on the side, I play with ethics. And so today I'm going to ask, what colour is your hat? And how are you going to decide? Maybe on a case-by-case basis, maybe all together. It's a common shorthand that is often used. Now that we've decided that a hacker is something slightly dodgy. We got going to the station this morning. I told one of my mates who's on the gate line checking tickets, we're off to a hackers conference today. No, Mum, said my daughter. We're going to an InfoSec conference. Hackers are sort of,
Cybersecurity.
Cybersecurity, all right, Busy. Thank you. And so it's a common shorthand. Hackers are a bit of bad guys. But are they really? Of course they're not. You wouldn't be here if we really thought everyone. Certainly wouldn't be listening to the last talk. And so, it didn't used to be like that. Hacker used to be a positive term when I was at a nipper. Exploits or clever code, shortcut and improvement, modification. The fellow who tinkered around, probably the chaps who were doing the knitting, trying to get this lot to work. That was hacking. It used to be a clever piece of code. Unix even originally came through some hacking, improvement on existing systems. Bell Labs from the late 1960s. But I blame the movies. 1970s to the mid-1980s, personal computers started to appear. My father looked rather suspiciously at my Spectrum, and he said, "Is that going to send all my secrets all over the world?" No, Dad, I haven't even got a modem. He was very dubious because I worked out his taxes on it, and he said, "Are you sure that's being kept private?" "Yes, Father. It's not connected to anything." "What's this wire?" "That's the mains cable. Leave it alone." So you've got the modems, and then you've got the films that glamorised it. Things like war games. Hackers no longer content with benign improvements, younger ones in particular, looking out for a bit of fame, looking out for a bit of publicity, and of course, you've got to keep Hack the Planet firmly in mind. Yes, see. I knew you wouldn't let me get away with that mentioning that.
I wouldn't.
Hack the Planet. Then the World Wide Web came along, and apart from providing lots of opportunities for doing really good stuff, it presented plenty of opportunities for doing dodgy stuff. Looking at bank accounts, messing about with passwords, identity theft, invading privacy, all the fun stuff you can do. But why hats? Why do we talk about hats? It's a convenient shorthand. And I told you I was old. Black and white movies, westerns. You could tell the Lone Ranger was a good guy because he had a white hat on. I mean, he looks a bit shifty, really. Some half a dozen guns and a mask on, but he's got a white hat, so he's got to be a good guy. And somebody else who comes along, he's got a black hat, so he's the bad guy. So it gives us a shorthand. So we hat the hatters, the hackers, put my teeth back in. So we've got the black hats, who poke around for little more reason because they're being malicious or personal gain. We've got the white hats, the ethical hackers.
On the screen.
Screen that.
Never work with children, animals, or technology. That's something for marriage.
Sorry for the bother, this is a very complex setup right here. Bit of training. I'll see if I can get some help. Is there a way that you can continue?
I can quite easily carry on babbling, but will anyone be interested? So, we have black hats who violate computer security for little reason beyond being malicious or just because they can actually see some way of making some money easily, they reckon. The amount of effort they put in, they could easily make some money without being naughty, but the thrill isn't there. White hats, the ethical hackers. They're testing vulnerability, testing security of systems. Might be hired to do so, maybe just curious. And the grey hats, who might hack into a system without authorization and then alert the administrator of vulnerabilities, often hoping for a bit of a reward, a bug bounty, maybe a job. And so we classify them. The names turn up all round. Seeing as we've decided to have that up there, I think, is there reference to Manchester Grey Hats on there? No? Well, of course we've got them. There's a sort of nationwide lot called the Many Hats Club. Global. Yes, they're all over the place. Is help at hand? We've got the various types of hacker, but most of us don't fall into the one category all the time. Most of us are somewhere in between. I found this glorious picture. Unfortunately, they said sold out, because I thought I was excellent. So many shades of fruit, white fruit, various shades of grey to black. Most of us are somewhere in there. Most of the time in virtues. And then every so often do something dodgy. Even I have. And so, how do we decide what we really are, where we stand? Maybe something like ethics can help. Why are ethics important for us? Will this help us decide where we stand, what we are known for, what sort of people we are? We need to make decisions. What's the right decision? What's the wrong decision? Does it comply with some moral or legal code? Or are we quite happy just slithering under the wire and not paying much attention at all? Ethics is different from moral codes. Moral codes guide behaviour. We've got the law of the land, we've got the 10 Commandments, we've got various sets of rules, the Unix 10 Commandments if you prefer. They're not an analysis of the guide. Ethics are the things that shine a light upon it. And they're how we make up our mind what our moral code is going to be. So what are these ethics anyway? Questionings, deciding good or bad, poking around a bit, thinking about things. The word itself derived from the Greek word ethikos, adjective of ethos, a custom or a habit in English. This is the way we do things. It's a study of the values and customs of a person or a group, and covers sort of looking at what's right and wrong, good and evil, responsibility. Now we're used to looking at human behaviour and saying, that's good, that's bad. Great storm blew up just yesterday. Boris Johnson has decided to close Parliament down during the run into Brexit, which a lot of people say, well, that's really bad because we can't actually discuss it and do anything about trying to tweak it in just the direction we want it to go. And other people say, excellent, we'll just get on with it. We've each got our own opinion. So some people say it's good, some people say it's bad. And I find the position against it. To put it succinctly, ethics are really about doing the right thing, even if nobody is looking. Morals is more about if someone's looking. I'll obey the speed limit because there's a policeman standing down the road with radar gun. But ethics means I drive at the speed limit because, well, that's the speed limit. So what is the right thing? And who decides? Some look to this morality. It comes from the Latin mores, from which the English words moral and morality are derived. Again, that which is customary, that which is accepted. Morals tell us what is right and wrong, what is good and evil. But what determines them? Some people look to their faith, which is all well and good if you happen to have one. People who don't believe in a deity are just as ethical, just as capable of being moral as those who do. And what you believe may bring you to a completely different conclusion from those who have been reached by other people with equally strongly held beliefs. So if there's somebody here who is Jewish, they will say, don't eat pork. My daughter is really my daughter, she loves her bacon. But the rest of us, we don't agree with that really. I don't really want to get into that cat fight. Religion starts quarrelling, get out of the way. Fast. Some say it's down to the law. The law says I can do it, I'll do it. It can either be it is permitted, so I will do it, or it's not expressly forbidden, so I won't do it. So if I'm boring it. What is the law for? It ought to be for everybody. But of course it isn't. It changes over time. Is this a good thing? Or should the law be an absolute? It never is. Various people come up with ideas that because they never apply equally to all people, it shows that having very fixed codes probably isn't a good idea. They adjust themselves to environmental conditions, which may or may not be a good idea. It's nice to have a law code that actually fits with what you all believe, but it may not be the right idea for everyone. So, morality and the law. Natural law proponents believe morality underlies the law, and it follows because you've got these moral codes, the law is enshrining them. The legal positivists, the sort of lawyer type, hold that the law is quite separate from morals. You just follow it. Either way, they hopefully keep society stable, safe, secure and surviving. Or don't. Because so many nasty things, Holocaust, slavery, segregation, all these things were legal. The law said you could do it. Until people changed their minds, realised it was wrong, and the law now says you can't keep slaves, segregate people on buses or anything like that. If you think the state is a good place for ethics, you'll be disappointed. Well, I don't need to tell you that. So in a constitutional democracy, the model content of law must be given by the morality of the legislators, not the judges. The judges just interpret the law. But in a democracy, we elect the politicians and hopefully they do our bidding. Very rarely. Or, of course, we might just say we're above the law. We don't need laws because they're for the people who want to break them anyway, who want to see where that narrow boundary is and are they going to fall over it. The good man is far above the law because he is doing what is right. Laws are enacted by authorities, councils of elders, assemblies of people's representatives, whatever you've got in your community. Moral codes are developed not by one central authority, but by all members of society. We have decided what we accept. They develop over a period of time from experience and reason. There can be quite a lot of debate, though, the legitimacy of certain rules. Consider, for example, the rules about the use of cannabis. It's changing, becoming more likely in various countries and various states that recreational use of cannabis is now being permitted. It will be licensed in 12 perhaps, but it's becoming permitted where in other places don't get caught. The interpretation of rules are accepted. Some rules are more acceptable than others, and people have to go and try and change them. And this is where ethics comes in. It shines a light on a moral code to see if the laws based on it are correct, and if they're being applied correctly. So where did ethics come from? There are no certainties. This is where the fun bit comes in, debate, argument, opinion. It ain't easy. But your own ethical standards should become the spine of your entire career, or indeed your own whole life. Everything you should do will boil down to your actual ethical code. You're going to do what everyone else is doing, regardless of what is right, or do what is right, regardless of what everyone else is doing. Guess who's going to have to decide? Each of us. Yeah, that's right. We all have to decide for ourselves what we're going to do. A lot of the time it's quite easy and straightforward, isn't it? There's no what we're going to do, but what do we do? I don't know if it's right or wrong. Depends on the situation. It's up to the individual, so let them get on with it. As long as I don't get caught, well, that's fine. It's always good not to get caught. So, we obviously want to seek help. There are various ethical theories. Don't worry, I shall not be going into great detail. As you can see from the cartoon, very good for standing round in the bar with me. Consequentialism is quite fun. The rightness or wrongness of an action depends on the consequences of the action. Cutting a piece of string is rarely bad of itself. But if it's going to drop a heavy weight on some poor kitty, it's definitely not a good thing to do, is it? So, consequentialism looks at what's the outcome. If the outcome's good, then the action's okay too. There's no good or bad, it's just the action and the consequence. 3 subtypes of that, whether it's based on your own desires, based on the utilitarian view of suiting as many people as possible, or altruism when you're benefiting other people rather than yourself. So, running under that heavy falling weight to rescue the kitty may well be an altruistic act. It's to the benefit of the kitty, but you might get squashed along the way. Deontology, best said when you've got your teeth in, focuses on the will behind the act. An action is good if you've got a good reason for performing it. It comes from the Greek, deon of duty, logos, science, the understanding of duty. It's all about why did you do that thing? And if your intentions are good, we might forgive if it actually makes a bit of a mess in the carpet. So do what is right, though the world may perish. Live your life as if everything you do is going to become universal law. Take thou shalt not kill. Okay, out of the commandments, but whether or not you happen to be a Christian, you probably agree that killing is not a very good idea. Killing other human beings, tempting though it may be at times. After all, they might be feeling the same thing about me, so I don't want to encourage them in thinking it's a good idea. So we'll say killing's bad. What about an intruder who's broken into your house? Maybe that's not quite so bad. If you're able to say, I'm protecting my family, looking at protecting other people, there's altruism coming in, I'm doing good, I'm doing an act which is good because it's protecting other people. The law says reasonable force. They might not go quite as far as that, gun happy like the Americans. And of course, there's a whole thing, and particularly the ontology and consequentialism boil down quite often when various legal examples come to mind, like the Tony Martin case, a farmer who shot and killed a burglar and was sent down for manslaughter. And he reckoned it was unfair because he lived way out in the country. If the police bothered to turn up at all, it was hours after he called for help. And so he was on his own, he had to do something about it, so he got a shotgun. Didn't trouble with shotgun license. And it didn't help that he shot the burglar in the back as he was running away, rather than if he was actually coming in. So there was a lot of debate about that, whether or not he should have been treated that way. Much more recent chap who broke in and threatened somebody with a screwdriver in the kitchen, so the fellow just picked up a knife, didn't actually strike him with it, but the burglar ran onto it and died as a consequence. And the police said, that's fine, you didn't do anything wrong, sir. The burglar comments have not been recorded because he's dead. Then we've got human nature. We have general characteristics that lead them to live happily together. And any actions that detract from that are unethical. Somebody came and sat down beside me earlier and started being chatty and helpful. And would I like this and would I like that? And started looking after me. She thought I looked a bit lost or something. That's a sort of nice ethical behaviour. So we look at how actions are or are not compatible with the way normal people behave. As Plato said, to prefer evil to good is not in human nature. When a man has to choose, no one's going to choose a more evil action when he can choose a lesser one. So what is this human nature? Maybe it's human habit. Think widely and foolishly. And of course, people use an excuse, it's just human nature, when it's an apparently unethical act. Now we have the Family Guy holding forth about some rather dodgy behaviour at work. Just human nature to suck up to people above you, on those beneath you, and undercut your equals. Come back to that in a bit. We have emotivism. Ethical statements have no intrinsic truth value. They're based on how you feel. Ethical statements are meaningless. It's just based on your own emotional position. It can't be verified or nothing objective about it. It's how you feel. The moral judgment gives over your attitude, how you feel about it. Well, it was all personal. It's like shouting hooray. whether or not we happen to find things going on. Then we have hedonism. Life is all about having fun. We all Plato. Most associated with the ancient Greek philosopher Epicurus, who reckoned that life's goal should be to minimise pain and maximise pleasure. Let's get it right there, doesn't it? He thought about the pursuit of happiness because he reckoned that pursuing happiness would lead you to do good things because it made everyone feel good, and that would be really nice. Maybe he went a bit far. Won't worry about death as long as we exist. We haven't got death, and once it does come, we don't exist, so we don't care anymore. End of. Thomas More, his book Utopia, trying to be happy helps us to behave in a more moral way. We should pursue pleasures that are most naturally grounded and not become preoccupied with artificial luxuries. So what do we do with all these theories? Well, there are a few rules knocking around that might help you apply them a bit better. You've probably all heard the Golden Rule. Do to others as you'd have them do unto you. There's some version of that at the core of virtually every religion. There's 9 major ones who are all saying something pretty much on those lines. However, religions all refer to the external, non-human authority, their deity, which makes it a bit hard to question their ideas. Because if you believe in them, you certainly aren't going to walk up and say, Heavenly Father, what do you think you're doing here? You don't talk to a deity like that. And if you don't believe in them, what sort of an idiot am I talking to the sky? It enables people to assert their rules without any sort of evidence to point to it. In irrationality, loads of potential for abuse. You can mostly blame the humans for that, but you can blame the deity if you want to, if you believe in one. You say it's a fiction. But no one follows the Golden Rule consistently. Confucius said, well, if you're going to repay evil with kindness, what are you going to repay kindness with? How do you reinforce good behaviour? It's an unrealistic idea altogether. People don't do things for nothing. So maybe we'll go to the Silver Rule. Do not do unto others what you would not have them do unto you. So a couple of famous personages, Mahatma Gandhi, Martin Luther King, typified that. Both taught oppressed people not to repay violence with more violence, but not to be compliant and just sit down and let them trample all over them either. Gandhi was interestingly very concerned in his early years about the treatment of fellow Indians in South Africa. Unfortunately, he didn't give a monkey about black people. When so black people sort of came to him and said, look, can you advocate for us too, please? He said, why? Nothing to do with me. They liked, though, the non-violent civil disobedience. In a way, it was melting the hearts of their oppressors. It did work, and it certainly brought a lot of public opinion around to their side, and so it led, eventually, to legislation that straightened things out. We got this shift in ethics that drove a shift in morals, which then filtered through. Then we have the Brazen Rule. Do unto others as they do unto you. Very pragmatic. Repay kindness with kindness, but evil with justice. An eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. One good turn deserves another. Human and chimpanzee behaviour is quite often seen that way. Chimpanzees are nice to one another, they're very nice to one another, but they can squabble and start bickering. Human beings can do the same. So this Brazen Rule doesn't have to appeal to anyone's better nature. It's a kind of operant conditioning. We reward others who are nice to us, punish them when they're not. We're not pushovers, but we're not unforgiving either. Then it gets a bit darker. The Iron Rule. Do unto others as you like before they do it unto you. It rejects and is rather contemptuous of the Golden Rule because it turns it on its head. It's a secret maxim of many if they can get away with it, even if they probably wouldn't submit to it. The unspoken precept of the powerful, including a certain unpleasant gentleman, bottom there. And then we go back to what Family Guy was saying, suck up to those above you, intimidate those below. The motto of the bully. Golden Rule for superiors have to be very nice to our boss. Iron Rule for everyone else. No known alloy of gold and iron, so we'll call it the Tin Rule because it's flexible. Then there's nepotism. Give precedence in all things to close relatives. Stuff the best. Golden Rule for relatives, Iron Rule for the rest. An evolutionary biologist would call it kin selection, and it's why evolution works. So which of these is the best? We need some kind of knowledge. What type of society do we want to have? Some are better than others. We want a dictatorship or democracy? We want capitalism, socialism, or something quite else? Suppose we seek not to confirm or deny what we've been taught, but to find out what really works. Is there a way to test our rules? Let's see. Brazen Rule's a bit unforgiving. Great vendettas. If you live in the Italian hills town, you might be happy going out with your sawn-off shotgun and shooting somebody, but most of us don't like vendettas. Gold and silver rules are a bit too complacent. They can systematically reward bad behaviour. It's hard to imagine Hitler or Stalin being shamed into behaving themselves by other people setting a good example around them. The Iron Rule's far too ruthless and lets a few ride roughshod over everybody else. Is there anything in between? Wish there was. So, what can we use? Rational intuition. Does this make sense? Does the decision we've made make sense? Can we justify it by our rational thinking? This is what my ethics course centres around, knowing where you stand and being able to argue the case for where you stand. But if you know why you hold that opinion, even those who don't agree with it might well be at least partially convinced. Do the moral rules have a coherent organisation in relationship? What are the consequences? And so we come to a few handy rules. First of all, the mom test. This thing you want to do, would you be happy if your mom knew about it? I'm deliberately not looking at you, Christine. But whatever you're doing, maybe within your ethical hacking or other parts of your life, would you really, truly be happy if your mother knew you'd done it? If you're happy with that, it's probably okay unless you've got a really dodgy. And we've got the TV test. Would you be prepared to stand up on national TV and say, I did that thing? Most politicians aren't, so we know exactly where they fall in regard to their ethics. Very dodgy. Most of them don't seem to like to admit to anything. They don't like anyone there at all. Then there's a smell test. Does it smell good, this thing you've done? Is there something slightly dodgy about it? You're not quite happy about it. If you're not comfortable, chances are there's something wrong. Maybe it shouldn't be something you're doing. And the other person's shoes test, which doesn't really mean pinching somebody else's shoes and trying to walk around them, but it means that this thing that you're doing, would you be happy if someone else was doing it to you? Turn things on its head. If you'd be happy for this thing to be done to you, then go ahead and do it. And of course, there's the market test. Would you buy a used car from this man? Tookie Dickie Nixon, former President of the United States, of Dan's said. So how do we feel about keeping our code? Do we get feelings of guilt or conscience? It's necessary for conforming to moral standards. Kicks in when someone fails to live up to group standards. Twitter is a prime example. You say the wrong thing on there, and boy, do you know about it. It's an unpleasant feeling which motivates you to avoid it by doing something a bit better next time. Conscience is internal. Guilt can be external. Everybody else turns around and says you did something wrong. You may sort of stop and consider it and say, well, did I actually do something wrong? Even if you didn't think so. It can get too much. Does to the soul what cancer does to the body, eats it away. It's not a good thing if there's too much. Individuals start to hide what they're doing. They become insulated. They may even become quite comfortable with it. Say, well, yeah, right, I am a bad boy. Everybody says so. So what? So I am. That's what I am. They may no longer care. Become amoral, live outside the system altogether. So, compare intention with outcome. It's not that offensive a remark, because I didn't mean it to be offensive, just because someone chose to take offence to it. Very easy one to go down, but you forget that some poor soul is genuinely upset. You didn't mean it badly, so you shouldn't feel such things. I'm responsible for what I say, not what you understand. Forgive yourself. Remove the guilt. Try again from a fresh start. It keeps you in the system. Move forward. Keep on going. Conscience, the ability to judge our actions ourselves based on our own standards. So that's why we need to have some standards based on them. Conscientia means knowing. It's an inner voice that tells us what we should or should not do. It doesn't bite, but it won't stop barking. So where does this all leave us? We just take responsibility for our own actions. You made the mess, you clean it up. It's really over to you. You decide where you stand. You live by it. You defend it if you have to. Thank you for listening. Anyone have any questions?
Could you elaborate on what you mean by the market test? I don't probably me, but I didn't quite understand how you would apply that to the situation.
That works particularly if you are acting on or perceived to be acting on the part of the company. If it was known that my company did this thing, would it stand up well in the market, or would we see everyone flocking to competitors in droves? That kind of idea.
Right.
How is it going to affect ourselves? After all, it's all about the bottom line if you're in business. Okay, yes?
What about adjusting a company's stance towards a more ethical attitude? Explaining maybe you want to do it slightly differently.
I think most companies are kind of doing that all the time, testing the water, seeing very few dare to take a really big stride unless they see a positive advantage. Because while, say, environmental campaigners have got all their very strong ideas, they've not costed them through. And so they sort of demand things, and companies will look at them and say, well, that would be nice, but it's going to cost us. And it might make things harder. For example, of messing about with plastic bags. I don't think anyone here would deny it's probably a good thing to have less carrier bags in the environment. But it's causing quite a lot of problems with things like home shopping. And now many supermarkets no longer put plastic bags. Put your shopping in plastic bags, it just comes in a tray. And you're scrabbling away on the doorstep trying to pick up all your stuff. It'd be so much easier just to pick it up in several bags. Some crafters stack of bags for life by the door, so I just tip it into those and wander off. It's usually a way round. But companies should be looking at what the more ethical stance would be. They may be taking baby steps, particularly in the eyes of the ardent campaigner on whatever the subject is, who would demand faster action, more dramatic action. There are so many factors going on that you have to try and get everything going together. Yeah? I think I've got to clear off now. I've had my moments.
Thank you very much.